Hey, skincare lover! So let's talk about one of the most hyped sunscreens in recent memory, La Roche-Posay Anthelios UV-Mune 400. This isn't just any SPF. It has Uvinul A+, avobenzone, and Tinosorb S Aqua, along with something that's been called the most important sunscreen innovation in the past 2 decades, Mexoryl 400. Doesn't that sound like a superhero name? Like the Marvel character of UV protection? And in a way, it is, because Mexoryl 400 is designed to block ultra-long UVA rays, the sneaky kind that slip past most filters, the ones that don't burn your skin but age it slowly, deeply, invisibly. Imagine them like the silent saboteurs, the rays that give you pigmentation, break down your collagen, and speed up wrinkles without you even realizing. That's the battlefield. La Roche-Posay says they're winning. But here's where things get juicy. Does this futuristic filter actually translate to glowing, protected, happy skin in real life? Or do the promises fizzle once the bottle is in your hand and the fluid is on your face? First, let's talk about texture, because let's be real. Nobody cares how advanced the science is if the sunscreen feels like glue. And Anthelios UV Muni 400 really comes out swinging here. Almost every reviewer mentioned the texture. It's not a thick cream that makes you feel like you've just slathered butter on your face. Nope. It's a thin, watery fluid, almost runny with a pale yellow tint that melts into skin. One person even compared it to the lightweight, dreamy textures of Japanese and Korean sunscreens, which is a big deal because, let's be honest, Asian sunscreens have set the gold standard for wearable SPF. Another user said it disappears like magic, leaving behind no chalky residue, no white cast, and no tackiness. And if you've ever tried to layer makeup over sunscreen, you know that's the ultimate test. This one? It often works like a primer. Foundation glides over it. Concealer doesn't pill. In fact, one reviewer at 47 years old who had almost given up on finding a sunscreen that didn't ruin her base called it her holy grail because it behaved under makeup better than anything else she'd tried. So if the battle is about invisibility, Anthelios UV Mune 400 seems to win. But before you crown it queen of sunscreens, let's add a little wrinkle. Because not everyone loved how it sat on their skin. Some found it left them shiny or greasy, especially if they already had oily or combination skin. A few said the alcohol did not. High on the ingredient list left them feeling dried out, tight, or even broke them out with painful pimples. Others noticed a strange side effect, a sickly yellow or greenish cast on paler complexions, especially after the formula was recently reformulated. One user said people actually asked if she was unwell when she wore it because her skin tone looked so off. And that's heartbreaking when a product has been your ride or die for years, then suddenly changes. It's like your favorite jeans being redesigned so they no longer fit the same. And yes, let's talk about reformulation. Because reformulation heartbreak is real in skincare. For years, this was a product many people bought religiously, stashing backups in case it sold out. Then, with the new batch, some noticed the texture shifted slightly, the color was more pronounced, and on pale skin, it just didn't blend invisibly anymore. Imagine finally finding a sunscreen that ticks every box. No stinging eyes, no breakouts, no cast, layers like silk under makeup. And then boom, one tiny lab adjustment ruins the love story. That emotional roller coaster came through loud and clear in the reviews. But let's rewind a little and sit with the positives, because there are many. One of the biggest selling points here is the ultra resistance claim. We're talking sweat resistant, water resistant, even sand resistant, which basically means it's designed to cling to your skin like an invisible shield, even through a beach day or a sweaty workout. Reviewers tested that in real life, and many said it held up. No milky streaks running down your face during exercise, no stinging eyes when you're dripping sweat, and no sand sticking uncomfortably to your cheeks after a seaside nap. That's rare, because usually, water-resistant sunscreens feel thick, greasy, and suffocating. This one manages to feel weightless while still sticking around. Now, let's zoom in on the eyes, because this was one of the most common pain points with other sunscreens. How many times have you applied SPF, and then an hour later, your eyes are watering like you've just cut onions? With Anthelios UV Mune 400, the non-eye stinging claim was tested by dozens of people, especially those with ultra-sensitive eyes. And guess what? many confirmed it didn't sting. For some, this was the very first sunscreen they could apply right up to the eye contour without irritation. That's game-changing, because if you can't take your SPF all the way up to your under eye and eyelids, you're leaving one of the most delicate, damage-prone areas unprotected. So for sensitive eye folks, this was a revelation. However, a small number of people still experience stinging or irritation, especially with the tinted versions that include fragrance. And here's where competitor comparisons sneak in. Some users compared it to their old favorites, like the Anthelios Ultra Light Invisible Fluid SPF 30, which they felt was perfection. When they tried to upgrade to SPF 50 with UV Mune 400, it just didn't sit the same, feeling tacky or greasy in comparison. Others compared it to Asian sunscreens they'd previously adored, saying this one finally gave them a local, affordable option that delivered similar elegance, especially after Brexit and rising costs made importing Japanese or Korean formulas too expensive. So it's definitely competing with the very best, and for many, it holds its ground. Let's not skip over one of the more sciencey features, though, because it's fascinating: the NetLock technology. That's basically La Roche-Posay's trick for making the filters form a micro-droplet network on your skin, kind of like tiny Lego blocks locking together. The result is a film that doesn't migrate, doesn't melt away, and keeps the protection even and strong. It's why so many people said they felt truly shielded, like their skin wasn't just protected from burning, but from the deeper, silent damage of UVA. And if you're serious about anti-aging, that's the battlefield that matters. And yes, people really did test this in tough conditions: holidays in hot climates, daily use in urban smog, sweaty gym sessions. And over, reviews came back saying it held up. One even said it was the first time her skin didn't burn at the beach, not even on her nose, which usually goes pink no matter what she uses. That's the kind of proof that makes you sit up and pay attention. Now, what about makeup compatibility? Because let's be honest, for a lot of us, that's the deal breaker. If your SPF pills or make your foundation slip, you just won't reach for it daily. And this is where UV Mune 400 shines for many. People described it as a perfect primer, saying makeup glides on top, stays put, and doesn't separate. Some even said it gave them a healthy glow, the kind that looks like you've had enough water and sleep even when you haven't. For makeup lovers, that's gold. But then, as with everything in skincare, there's no universal truth. Some users with oilier skin said it made their base slide around, and one reviewer said even with primer and setting spray, her foundation was melting off after a few hours. So again, it's skin type dependent. Which brings us to suitability. Who is this really for? The consensus seems to be, if you've got sensitive skin, this is a strong contender. So many people with rosacea, eczema, or acne-prone skin reported that it didn't flare them up. Some even said it felt soothing, leaving their skin soft and hydrated. But there were exceptions. A handful of people broke out badly, especially those with acne-prone oily skin, blaming the alcohol denat and filters. One user described waking up to a forehead full of bumps after only a few uses, which disappeared as soon as she stopped. Another said it dried her skin out so much she felt tight and uncomfortable. So it's not universally perfect. But then, what SPF is? Price is another interesting theme. Some people called it expensive for the size, pointing out that the tiny 50 milliliter bottle doesn't last long if you're applying the proper amount. Others said they didn't mind paying more because they trusted the science, the reputation, and the elegant texture. And really, that's the eternal SPF debate. Do you go for a cheaper bottle you'll slather generously, or a pricier one that makes you want to apply it every single day because it feels so good? Because at the end of the day, the best sunscreen is the one you'll actually use. Let's also talk about the little things people noticed. The bottle design, for instance, got a lot of love. Slim, flat, travel-friendly, with a nozzle that makes it easy to control how much you dispense. It even has a little ball inside that rattles when you shake it, ensuring the formula mixes properly. That kind of detail makes a difference, because a messy sunscreen is one more excuse not to use it. And with SPF, consistency is everything. But then, and here's where the story turns a bit dramatic, some users felt betrayed by the recent changes. After years of loyalty, suddenly the cast, the texture, or the smell felt off. A few even accused La Roche-Posay of ruining their holy grail. It's a reminder that in skincare, formulas evolve, regulations shift, and sometimes what worked for years doesn't anymore. And that leaves people scrambling, trying to replace something that felt irreplaceable. So, what's the verdict? If your skin leans sensitive and you're serious about long term sun protection, UV Mune 400 is worth considering. It delivers on science, it's elegant enough for most makeup routines, and it truly protects against the UVA damage most sunscreens ignore. But, and this is important, if your skin is acne prone, super oily, or you're very fair and sensitive to cast, you might find it frustrating. The reformulation complaints are real, and the price feels steep for such a small bottle. And that brings us to the end. So, if you've been on the hunt for an SPF that blends serious science with everyday elegance, Anthelios UV Mune 400 might just be your match. But like with all skincare, the only real way to know is to try it on your own skin and see how it plays with your daily routine. If you've already tested it, we'd love to hear your story. Was it love at first application, or did the reformulation break your heart? Drop your experience in the comments because your skin diary could help someone else find their perfect sunscreen soulmate. And if you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to hit subscribe so you never miss another beauty decode. Because the truth is, sunscreen is more than just a product. It's the foundation of every glow, every anti aging promise, every your skin looks amazing moment. So, whether you choose this French pharmacy icon or another favorite, just promise us one thing: wear it every day. Your future skin will thank you.